For every NFL franchise, there's always a moment that they'll never forget. No matter how many Lombardi trophies occupy their bookshelves, they can always point to one circumstance where things just didn't happen the way they were supposed to. Although it may have happened decades ago, a certain fan base can remember it like it was yesterday. An unfortunate field goal that swings to the left, or a big-time lead that evaporates in what seems like a matter of seconds. We've seen it all. Whether it's blowing a game that appeared to be a virtual lock or giving up on a player too soon, every fan base has a story in which they cover their head in shame. Ultimately, in a lot of these scenarios, a team can shrug its shoulders and blame their misfortunes on bad luck. In other situations, they have no one to blame but themselves. It's a long and distinguished list that will undoubtedly evoke painful memories for some and bright smiles for others. It's time to take a trip down memory lane and alter the history of the NFL. These are the biggest what-ifs in NFL history. What if quarterback Andrew Luck never took off the helmet? He was slowly building himself a Hall of Fame level career. Coming out of Stanford University, he was given a ton of expectations as he was replacing all-timer Peyton Manning. By all accounts, he was meeting them head on. The Indianapolis Colts were a consistent playoff team, and Luck's name was always mentioned amongst the game's best. At 6'4", weighing roughly 240 pounds, whenever Luck's big bulky body would hit the dirt, he would bounce right back up. However, by the time the 2018 season came around, it took him longer and longer to peel himself up off the gridiron. The season prior, Luck was forced to miss the entire year due to a long list of injuries. At the age of 29, Luck hung his cleats up for good, citing how beat up his body was and how his love for the game wasn't what it used to be. For countless years, fans and media members urged the organization to surround Luck with a more stout offensive line. Yet draft after draft, they never prioritized those players up front. So what exactly could Luck have ultimately become? Well, taking into consideration that he consistently threw for over 4,000 yards and somewhere in the 30-plus touchdown area, there's reason to believe that the Colts could have made a Super Bowl run with him at the helm. The Hall of Fame appeared to be a virtual lock also. In my personal opinion, if the Colts did provide Luck with a way better offensive line, I think they would have at least one Super Bowl, potentially more. Who knows, they could have even been a dynasty. What if the refs didn't blow this call in the NFC Championship game? In 2019, the Saints seemingly had the Los Angeles Rams exactly where they wanted them. On third down, the ball was roughly on the Rams' 12-yard line with just under 2 minutes remaining. Quarterback Drew Brees lofted the ball to a wide open Tommy Lee Lewis, who was blasted way before the ball got to him by Nickell Robey-Coleman. The refs swallowed their whistles and the Saints kicked a field goal to go up 3 as opposed to a possible 7. The Rams had just enough time to make it down the field to kick a game-tying field goal before winning it in overtime. All year long, the Saints were easily the best team in the NFL. Considering that the Rams went on not to only lose the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, but score 3 points in the process, Saints fans can't help but believe that that was their Super Bowl to lose. With how inept the Patriots were on the offensive end as well, scoring only 13 in the final game of the year, and the Saints' tendency to light up the scoreboard, they could have easily rolled to their second ring in the Peyton Brees era. Instead, all they can do now is sit back and think of what could have happened if the refs simply made the right call. What if Pete Carroll just makes the right call? It's easy to criticize from the outside, but the job of an NFL head coach must be incredibly difficult. For the most part, the players will receive the bulk of the credit if they win. If they lose, the coach's seat goes from lukewarm to blazing hot. Understanding the right play to call at the right time is complex, but with that said, Pete Carroll made things much more complicated than what they needed to be. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks fell behind 28-24 with roughly 2 minutes remaining in the 2013 Super Bowl. On the second to last play, running back Marshawn Lynch rushed for 4 yards to bring his team to the New England Patriots' 1-yard line. His total on the night reached an incredible 102 yards. Everyone knew Lynch was going to get the ball one more time. He was one of the best backs in the league and was itching to finish this off. Yet for some inexplicable reason, Carroll opted to have his quarterback Russell Wilson throw the ball, which was subsequently intercepted by cornerback Malcolm Butler. The play by Butler sealed the fate of the Seahawks, and everyone in Seattle, including the players, coaching staff, and fans, were all left wondering why. If the Seahawks were to win, how would they be different now? A victory would have handed them their second straight Lombardi trophy. Considering that they had one of the best defenses in the Legion of Boom, there's reason to believe that they could have reeled off more championships. Instead, the team grew a certain disdain for Carroll in an obtrusive way. The team would eventually break up entirely, and several members of that failed championship club acknowledged that they simply didn't get over what happened. Now, all the NFL world is left with is what if? Would the Seahawks have become a dynasty? What if Aaron Rodgers left the NFL draft board a lot sooner? The San Francisco 49ers truly wish they could do it all over again. With the number 1 overall pick in the 2005 NFL draft, Aaron Rodgers was sitting right there in the green room just waiting to be taken. Instead of getting the future first ballot Hall of Famer, they opted to take the steady yet underwhelming Alex Smith. As the number 1 pick, Smith struggled to live up to the expectations that were placed on his shoulders. His best year with the 49ers, which came in 2011, would be considered Rodgers' worst. On the year, Smith threw for 3,144 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. In comparison, Rodgers has never thrown for less than 3,800 yards in a full season. As the 49ers have sat back and watched Rodgers destroy defenses, win multiple MVPs, and make Super Bowl runs, the construction of their roster has made things even more painful. Considering they've had players such as running back Frank Gore, wide receiver Michael Crabtree, tight end Vernon Davis, and much more, if they simply sprinkled Aaron Rodgers into that mix, there's no telling how many Super Bowls they would have won. Plus, you add in the fact that they had an elite defense, one of the scariest defenses in the NFL during that time, the 49ers could have very well been a dynasty. What if Bo Jackson never got injured? Bo Jackson was the definition of what it meant to be an athlete. Being a football star and talented baseball player comes with its perks, but the devastating hip injury Jackson had was what destroyed both careers. Jackson was an absolute monster when on the football field, winning the Heisman Trophy in college and even being selected to the Pro Bowl in the NFL. While on the baseball field, Bo Jackson was selected to the All-Star Game, won MVP of the All-Star Game, and even won the American League Comeback Player of the Year award. The injury Jackson had was history-changing not only in the NFL but in the MLB as well. If Bo Jackson never got injured, he would be a lock for the NFL Hall of Fame, and maybe could have been a baseball Hall of Famer as well, but the injury is one of the worst history-changing moments in all of sports. A hip replacement became life-changing, and the world probably lost the greatest athlete ever. But to think of all the achievements Bo Jackson would have had in 2 sports is mind-blowing. This is one of the most heartbreaking what-ifs in NFL history to me personally, because Bo Jackson was really special. If you watch his highlights, he's literally a combination of Barry Sanders and Walter Payton in the fact that he was so much faster than everybody else and nobody could tackle him. He was huge. What if Barry Sanders never retired? After 10 seasons with the Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders stepped away and retired from the game that he dominated since he was a rookie in 1989. The conspiracies that inevitably surrounded his departure were meaningless to his legacy. Seeing a 31-year-old superstar walk away from football was not something that happened too often in the NFL. Sanders had 15,000 rushing yards when he retired in 1999, which placed him second all-time on the rushing list. The NFL will probably never see a player rush for more than 15,000 yards in less than 10 seasons ever again. The most interesting part of Sanders' game was that he was the ultimate finesse back. Historically, running backs ran north and south and tried to dole out the punishment to defenses. Sanders had the strength and capability to run up and down, but he played behind an offensive line that had trouble creating gaps up front. He had to be inventive and make openings for himself because there weren't any holes for him to burst through. In my opinion, if Sanders didn't retire early, he would easily be number 1 in all rushing stats and undoubtedly be the GOAT. Some people consider him the GOAT right now, but if he didn't retire, he would have the numbers to back it up, and he would certainly be the greatest NFL running back of all time. Like all of these videos, I probably missed somebody. So let me know in the comments down below, what's the biggest what if in NFL history that I missed, and maybe we'll get a part 2. Also, I would really appreciate it if you guys like this video and subscribed. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. That's the goal I have set for myself now, and with your guys' help, we can reach it in no time. Plus, it'll help grow this community of NFL fans just like you. We can create a place where people can watch videos, talk football, and just have a good time. All right, guys, later.